It's weariness in trying to handle everything on your own. Maybe it's burnout from being pulled in too many different directions. Maybe it's shame about how you've handled a relationship or your finances or some other insanely personal area of your life. No matter what it is, the same truth applies. Opportunity for growth exists in the presence of truth.
Hi there, I'm Vanessa Kaiser, a ranch girl turned social worker, business leader, and now entrepreneur. I'm passionate about diving into organization, leadership, personal growth, and efficiency. Around here, we call it rhythmic living, that continuous cycle of assessing the season of life that we're in and creating habits, routines, and processes that serve us best. This show is for the busy, the dreamers, the tired, the go-getters, those who want to live fully, grow steadily, and feel inspired each day. Welcome to the Inspiring Heights podcast.
A while back, my husband and I spent this really fun day out with friends. And when we got home, I was so tired and I was like quickly fading. You know how it is when you're like in a conversation, you're like, I feel like my ears can't listen anymore and my brain has nothing else to contribute. And so I did this thing that I am trying so hard not to do. I reached for my phone. And I was just checking, a couple of the standard things that I check when I haven't had my phone in my hand for a few hours. And lo and behold, I know we're all shocked at this. I got distracted. We talk about the detriment that distraction is to us all of the time around here. This is nothing new. If you've been here for more than 2 seconds, I have a huge old soapbox about distraction right now. But something happened here that I've maybe not recognized before. After about 30 seconds of really, truly just being completely disengaged from my husband, I caught myself. I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? I locked the screen on my phone and I set it down and I said something to Ben that I have said so many times before. I said, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to be distracted. And I heard the words and I paused and I cocked my head sideways and I blinked my eyes a few times and I'm like, what am I even saying? I didn't mean to be distracted. Actually, Kaiser, you absolutely did mean to be distracted. It's not like you tripped on the rug and accidentally opened the Instagram app with your nose, right? You picked up your phone, you pressed the button, you did that on purpose. So I apologize again, this time for the real thing that I was sorry about, choosing distraction. Since that night, I have been ruminating on this pretty intensely. I'm talking hours of conversation with Ben and voice memos with my girlfriends in regards to this sort of whoa, Nelly kind of moment. Because here's the truth. When I had that aha moment and I sat there for a minute, I realized just how often I am guilty of doing this, of offering an apology that is actually missing the real problem. Are you tired of setting goals and making plans that seem to just add more stress and chaos instead of bringing clarity and direction? The Strategic Reset is a 90-day planning framework designed to help you align your goals with your season, capacity, and values. Because when your plans actually fit your life, you can reach your goals, you can finish your to-do lists, and you can live a fully present life. Grab lifetime access today at inspiringheights.org/strategic reset. As always, I'll drop the link for you in the show notes below. Now, here's something that's kind of interesting I've been spinning on in the midst of all of this. Most of us actually start feeling this tension at a pretty young age, right? So let's say around 4 years old, you're making cookies with your mom and she sets this beautiful canister of flour on the counter and she turns around to grab the sugar. And what do you do as a 4-year-old? You go, this looks shiny and fun, and you dump it upside down on the counter, right? Flour everywhere. Mom turns back around and she goes, oh, why did you do that? Why did you do that? And you say, I'm so sorry, Mama. I didn't mean to. I didn't mean to. Okay, fast forward to high school. Your dad says, "Hey, do you know where this scratch on the car came from?" And you go, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I forgot to tell you. Last week, yeah, I had this little mishap in the parking lot with Miss Smith, but yeah, sorry about that. Totally slipped my mind." Or as adults, when we just desperately need a day off because we have had it up to here, but we don't want to use vacation time. So what do? We call our boss and we say, "I'm so sorry. I'm going to need you to find someone to cover for me today. I'm sick." We offer apologies that aren't actually the real thing. See, I wonder if before I kind of told you these things, if you're like, "I don't do that. I don't tell weird apology things like that." But actually, we do, and we start doing it, like I said, at a very young age. So the next logical question to explore here is why? Why do we apologize for not the real thing? Why do we, dare I use really strong language, lie in our apologies? Dude, that's uncomfortable. But it's also honest, isn't it? I think this question actually unlocks a lot of doors that are sort of worth exploring. Of course, there is the classic case of I made a decision that I don't want to own now that I'm staring down the barrel of trouble. So I'm going to apologize in this sort of slippery kind of way to try to slide past the consequences I've probably earned. Then there's the I don't think you can handle the real truth. Therefore, I feel pretty justified in my like half truth, half fake apology situation. Then there's the I am actually disconnected enough from myself and from the truth that I don't realize that what I'm saying isn't actually the heart of the problem. Like when I said to Ben, "I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to be distracted." Those words were spoken in the moment of disconnection. When I actually heard them and then paused to consider them, I realized they were not true. The problem wasn't accidentally falling into distraction. The problem was intentionally choosing it when it wasn't the right choice to make. Now, here's what I also know. Just as we start to feel this tension in our youth, we are also most generally taught about the importance of telling the truth. And this comes in lots of different forms, right? The telling of the story of the boy who called wolf, timeouts for telling a lie, being grounded or put on restriction when our parents kind of sniff out that insincerity in our apology as a teenager. We're told a lot of things about the truth. It's the right thing to do. We want to be trustworthy people. Our reputation depends on our word. And yes, yes, and amen to all of those things. I do want to do the right thing. I do want to be a trustworthy person. I do want to hold a reputation of being honest. But there's this glaring lesson that popped out on this distracted night a few weeks ago, and I can't seem to put it back in the box. And truthfully, I don't ever want to try. Leaning into the truth allows us to explore a better path moving forward, a path that can lead us to growth and wholeness. On the distraction front, when I kind of started this story, I told you I'm desperately trying to live more mindful of my distraction, not to check a box, not to reduce my screen time so that I can get a star for the week or beat my husband at the game that we play, but because it matters. Because I want to live my life not behind a screen, but where my feet actually are. Because I want to live connected to my husband instead of distracted by the lives of people that I'm never going to meet. Because I'm tired of being anxious all the dang time because I'm holding on to every tragedy that hits the headlines or my newsfeed. And you know what keeps me stuck in a state of distraction? Way more than Instagram, way more than the headline news, way more than Facebook, way more than my inbox? My inability and my unwillingness to call it what it is and to actually give some space to consider how to do it better next time. Do you ever wish there was a natural, science-backed way to ease aches, boost your mood, and even support healthier skin? I felt the same way until a friend introduced me to LumiBox. Not too long ago, I was venting about long-time ankle pain to one of my girlfriends, and she encouraged me to check out LumiBox, a red light therapy device. She brought it with her for a girls' weekend because this is what it's like to be in your 30s, my friend. I gave it a whirl, and after just a couple of days, I can honestly tell you I was sold. That was the beginning of my journey with this incredible tool for holistic health. Now, LumiBox is a Kaiser family favorite. We use it for everything from soothing aches and eczema to giving our mood a gentle lift on tough days. Here's the deal. LumiBox harnesses the power of red light and near-infrared wavelengths to promote healing deep beneath the skin. Backed by science and loved by so many, it's a simple, natural way to support your mind and body. And for a short time only, LumiBox is offering my listeners an exclusive $260 discount. Just visit LumiBox.com and use the coupon code INSPIRINGHeights at checkout. Don't wait, this could be your next step towards holistic health. I'll put the link and the coupon code in the show notes. Next time. That's the thing. This isn't about hitting the mark with 100% perfection. The question isn't, how do I do this better forevermore? How do I hit the mark of perfection every time from here forward? The question is, how do I do better next time? It pains me to say this because I really wish it weren't true. But we are never going to hit the mark of 100% perfection. We're just not. And that has been a really hard truth for me to wrestle down. But here's what I'm learning in it. In fact, more beautiful than striving for perfection, which often does lead us to fake apologies and the shame spiral and at times, honestly, even just disowning our own behavior and choices. We lean into the process. We take each day as an opportunity to learn and grow, to turn around the decisions that we're making in the light and say, yeah, you know what? That worked, and I'm going to do that again. Actually, next time, I'm going to try something different because I'm looking for a different outcome here. Those are really nice words. And I also know how stinking hard that they are to live into. I am fighting with them on the daily in this season, so I'm not going to sit here and pretend otherwise. That seems a little counterproductive in a conversation about telling the truth, right? But despite the wrestle that I have with them, they are still true. And despite the wrestle, they do still provide us with the freedom that the shackles of perfection never can. Maybe it isn't distraction for you. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe it's weariness in trying to handle everything on your own. Maybe it's burnout from being pulled in too many different directions. Maybe it's shame about how you've handled a relationship or your finances or some other insanely personal area of your life. No matter what it is, the same truth applies. Opportunity for growth exists in the presence of truth. Truth with ourselves, truth with other people. Saying what is true in apologies or otherwise, it brings us closer together. It brings clarity about what's not working. And perhaps most importantly, it brings hope for what can. Here's our weekly challenge. Think about the last time you gave a half-true apology. Give yourself some space to explore it. Spin it around and see if you can't wring out your why. Why'd you do that? Why did that happen? And then let that why be the stepping stone for speaking truth next time. And that's a wrap. Thanks so much for tuning in today. Do you have questions, comments, or insights on today's content? I would love to hear from you. You can DM me on Facebook or Instagram, or head over to our website, inspiringheights.org, and click on the Contact Us form. I will link all those locations here in the show notes. P.S. If you haven't already, I would love for you to leave a 5-star rating and a quick review of the podcast. This helps get our content in the hands of new listeners. Don't forget to sign up for the newsletter and follow us on social media for rhythmic doses of inspiration. All right, friends, take a deep breath and be inspired where your feet are. Bye for now.